You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Wepa, what a man, this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. That's right, today, talking indie comics, we're talking comedy, we're talking some fun stuff with an amazing creator that, yes, is a stand-up comedian. He is a creator, he is a writer, and he has a fire project out right now on Kickstarter called Kill Stand. Oh, snap. Let's learn about this book and a whole lot more with the man himself, the comedy legend in the making, the one, the only Mr. Deece Casillas.
Hey, you can sit down. It's okay. No need to stand. Yeah, Thank you for having me.
Everybody's going nuts at home. I know everybody's chill. Hey, Big Dan in the building. He just always wants to be the first to comment. It is sports highlights. I think he's betting everybody. I bet you I'm first all the time.
He's getting on that DraftKings action on the who's up first.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So excellent, brother. Again, thank you for coming on and hanging out with the Crusaders today to talk about this dope project you got out that's live on Kickstarter now, folks. It's live right now. That's the link, and we're going to be talking all about this in just a little bit. But as per normal, this is his first time here. Who is this? We don't know. So, mira, muchacho, let us know where you're originally from. And the most important question you will ever be asked in your life: what is the first thing in all of fandom that you fell in love with?
Oh man. Well, where I'm from, Eastside Long Beach. Shout out LBC. Grew up in South Central LA and in the 80s. So, crazy time, fun time to be in LA in the 80s. Live in Texas, Houston, or San Antonio, Texas now. Been bounced all over. I've been doing stand-up comedy for about 17 years almost.
17. Oh, you a vet, brother.
Yeah, I've did stand-up. I did comedy writing. I've written books, shows, written for comedy websites, and all kinds of stuff. I'm not famous, but I've been a professional comedian for a long time. So, but I get to make a living at it. So it's nice. I don't have another job. It's what I do. I've been doing it a long time. Got a special available called Not Your Cup of Tea. It's on Tubi, Amazon Prime, and on my website, Deece Comedy. You can, it's all for sale. Donation only on the website now. So you can pay whatever you want. Name your price. You'll get the whole hour of my comedy right now too.
Hey, you got to send me that website link. As I said, you have any links I got to share? You see, the website got stuff for sale. I need.
I'm hawking the comic book right now, but here's what I'll do.
We need that. We need that. I know you're hawking the book, but again, and we're gonna get into you know what? They got to get into the whole Casillas verse. Come on now. I mean, pimp everything you got over here, bro. All right, so was comedy the first thing you fell in love ever, or was there something else entirely that you first fell in love with?
Honestly, if you were to ask me from the my dream, if you would have asked me my entire life what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, if blue sky scenario, it would have been write comic books pretty much all my life. I always wanted to be a writer of some sort. I love writing. Writing was ever since I was a little kid. I love writing, art, and I used to make my own little comic books, and I used to write these stories. I used to read the dictionary and the thesaurus for fun because I wanted to learn new words and learn how to say words differently because I wanted to increase my vernacular, right? Learn how to communicate differently. And then when I found comic books, I'm like, I want to write comic books. This is what I want to do.
How did you find comic books? What was the first one that was the eye candy? Like the first time you saw a hot stripper or something,
Yeah, the first comic book, I couldn't tell you the first comic book I read. I could tell you the first comic book that was mine, and it was Guardians of the Galaxy number 21. And I'm talking old school, like Jim Valentino, none of that Star-Lord shit, none of this stuff these kids know.
The real Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah. Vance what was it, Vance Astro and Nikki and Charlie 27 and Martin X and that Guardians of the Galaxy.
Funny you bring that up. My middle brother saw a picture of Charlie 27 at a shop, and he goes, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "An OG Guardian." He goes, "No, he's not." I'm like, "Oh my effing guys! Like these are not your Guardians, dude. This I can't do annihilation and all the bullshit. This is not the Guardians of the '90s, man."
Yeah, that was no, and people don't remember that. And that was the first book that was like I remember being mine. I mean, I played the old X-Men arcade game, like the 80s arcade game, and I was always into it, but I didn't really have any of the stuff until that book, and then I was just hooked. I used to go down, because back then I didn't live near an LCS, so and I was getting them off the rack at 7-Eleven, and you kind of get whatever your 7-Eleven had. Or like their local grocery store had a spinner rack, and my mom would go shopping at the grocery store, and I just sit at the spinner rack and read comics, and like most, a lot of time didn't get to take them home, but I'm like, oh, this is what what the Avengers West Coast did this month. All right, cool.
Oh, cool, man. I see the good comic books. I'm always jealous about these spinner rack stories at 7-Elevens. That I grew up in Brooklyn. There's no 7-Elevens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No spinner rack. I mean, what are you talking about? My shit has always been long boxes.
Okay. Yeah. We
a bodega box full of comic books.
Right. Yeah. Just all that. Just all the whole. Just a big ass jumble of them, huh? That's You'd have like a little rack, and you're just like whatever they had. Something was like 20 books, that they would carry, and if somebody already picked up that month's copy of X-Men, you're shit out of luck, but. So I just kind of read whatever was there, and if I could save enough money, I would buy whatever was there that I felt like I wanted was available at the time
when it was affordable.
Yeah. Back when it was affordable.
Right. Excellent. All right. So, what steps did you start taking then? Here you are. You're a fan. You're saying you love writing. Actually, before that, did you have a tribe in school growing up with your geekdom and nerddom, or were you kind of like a lone wolf and had to keep your geek side, a secret identity, just like a comic book character?
A little bit, because I grew up in a rough neighborhood with gangs and stuff like that, so there wasn't really a ton of room for that. It was kind of like my own little thing. It kind of always was, honestly. I didn't really probably have much of a community until much later in life, when it kind of became mainstream. Now it's like cool to be a nerd, right? Like that's something that people, like, everyone does. Everyone's into Marvel. Everyone's like, it's fun. It's a thing, it's mainstream. It's part of the culture, but for a long time it was real taboo. So no, I never really had much of a community about it, but I always loved it. I just poured over these things. I had books that I read. That one Guardians of the Galaxy book, I bet I read that copy 300 times in my life, just pouring over those pages over and over.
Do you still have it?
What happened actually about 15 years ago, I moved from California to Washington, and I put all my stuff in storage, and my storage unit got broken into, and my whole collection got stolen. So I do not have, I have a new copy of that book, but I don't have the original one anymore.
Bastards.
Yeah, I know, those fucking bastards, but sorry, content warning, I don't know.
No. Just there's a adult show, man. Get out of here.
All right.
Kids are not the one buying comics right now. Let's get real.
That is true.
It's adults, and so comics for adults right now. So there's adult talk, kiddo. Don't worry about that. I don't give a shit. All right. Whether if one platform don't like it, there's another one that's okay with it. So I'm not worried. Concerned.
All right.
All right. So going forward there. So how did you move forward then in getting professional? What were the steps you took, especially at that time? Talk to me the ever you started taking the steps, because pretty sure it was before internet, since you were telling you're an 80s kid.
Like taking steps towards writing comics?
Yeah, writing, and just in general, they're taking creative steps to break into writing overall. Yeah. And it's published,
Well, so when I was younger, when I was coming up, there wasn't really an opportunity to, like, if you wanted to be in comic books, you kind of had to be in New York, because everything was in New York back then. You know, it was before people started doing stuff bi-coastal. I mean, really, like Image was doing stuff on the West Coast, you know, but like if you want to write for Marvel, pretty much everyone lived in New York, right? And I didn't live in New York, and I lived as far away from New York as you could be and still be in America. I lived, you know, and but I used to, when I was like 17, 18, I started going to San Diego Comic-Con, and I'd go every year, and I started meeting.
Did you go the first time? What year was it? The first time you went?
It would have been like around probably around 2000.
Oh, okay.
Probably maybe even 99. I'm trying to do math. I'm trying to backwards math. I'm almost 42, and I was probably like 17, 18 the first time I did it.
I know when you reach a certain age, to go backwards is very difficult.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? When was that? I don't know. It was
horrible.
Yeah, it was. The first time I went, we probably still had 2 towers. I know that. So, like, I don't. You know, so I'd go, like, that was my only connection to the industry, you know, and I would go and I would meet editors, and I started to form a relationship with a couple editors after a few years, but also, like, they don't want portfolios from writers, right? Like, they want portfolios from artists, and because they can do a quick assessment of your skill and know if they can work with it or if they're like, keep working, kid. A writer, they've got writers. They don't need, you know, they don't really scout writers like they do artists. And I knew that. So I was like, I didn't really know how I would break in, but I knew I wanted to write. So I was, I started writing books, doing comedy. I published a book. I was doing.
Why comedy? Comedy, you also started getting into jokes. I mean, what were you a troublemaker in school, cracking jokes on everybody?
Yeah. I was always a troublemaker growing up. But I always loved comedy. Also, when I was a kid, my dad would, if he was home before I went to bed, he would just like sit on the couch and drink until he'd like fall asleep on the couch, right? Yeah. So what I would do is I would pretend to fall asleep on the living room floor while he was watching TV. And then once he would pass out, I could sit up and I could watch TV late at night, because my mom would go to bed early. And so like once my dad was passed out, I had free range to watch whatever I wanted. So I would fake sleep from like 8 o'clock until, you know, like 10. And then I would wait, and then I'd sit up and I would watch The Tonight Show. I'd watch Saturday Night Live. I'd watch VH1 used to do like this stand-up spotlight hosted by Rosie O'Donnell back when she was not a twat. And like when she, and the so that's what I loved comedy also, you know.
You didn't watch like Benny Hill, A la Cama con Porcel and stuff like that?
No, I did not nothing like that really, but I just loved, you know, I mean, I grew up in the generation of like when In Living Color was like fire.
So you didn't watch the Spanish comedy sketch shows? Your parents didn't watch those?
No, not really. Maybe over my grandma's, she watched stuff like that a little bit, but I mean, I watched like a lot of In Living Color as a kid, and
me too.
That, you know, and
like there's always the one that sticks out for me. I always laugh.
Which one?
Out of the random ones, you know, and you know, everybody thinks about Homie and all that.
Oh, yeah.
You think about the Buttmans.
Yeah.
With the butthead foreheads.
Yeah. I always liked the character Jamie Foxx played, the blind guy with the dog.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Duke. Yeah, Duke, the blind dog. There's this one where he takes, you know, and he doesn't know the dog's dead and everyone else does. And like he takes Duke to be in a like a contest, like a agility contest, and he's like dragging this dead dog over ramps and shit. And I just remember being like 10 years old, laughing my ass off at that. Just so
they wouldn't do that shit nowadays at all.
Oh, no, you can't do anything now. I mean, I every now and then, if you know, I get home late at a hotel on a Saturday if I'm on the road, and I'll put it on TV and Saturday Night Live's on, and I try to watch it. I'm like, who the fuck is this even for anymore? Like, I'm confused. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Is it who's watching this and laughing at it? This is horrible. You know,
no one will take. Not many comedians or comedies taking risks. I love comedy, and and I grew up with a generation, fucking Sam Kinison, Carlin, Pryor, Murphy, Charlie Murphy, both Murphys, so many comedic legends, the Godfreys, like, come on, like that's comedy gold, and them motherfuckers just spoke their mind. He dealt with it, and in between those names I just mentioned, a lot of them are very intelligent, and some of them were just, vulgar to fuck with you. You see the testament, and it's beautiful, and I love that. And it's a shame that they try to, fuck with folks like yourself.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, but I mean, it's coming back. It's swinging back where people are getting more. They're kind of over the bullshit of all the kind of PC woke shit. They just want to have a good time and not tell people.
I think Gross helps a lot with that.
Yeah,
that shit gets so crazy. It's like, listen, that show's meant to offend, and if you could tolerate that, then listen. You know what? You'll be okay. Have you done a roast battle ever yourself?
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of roast battles in my day. I can be pretty mean when I want. So it's I don't mind. My problem with roast battles is like it's all people. I've only done roast battles with people that like aren't people everyone know about. Like when you watch like a roast battle, like the roasts of someone, those are all celebrities that everyone is very well versed in their life and like things about them, right? So if somebody comes to like a comedy show and they don't know who the comedians are and they're roasting each other, it's hard to get really personal because you have to front load so much information to get them to understand the joke. So a lot of times it's like, this is fun for us, but maybe not as fun for the audience because it's a lot of like they got to like learn a lot first. You want to like hand out flashcards and be like, okay, read up on what Tony's like, so you know that he's half Korean. He used to do a lot of cocaine. You're like, so they know who all the players are.
You're trying to tell me he's the one roasting cats on the sidewalks in New York.
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there.
He's not even Asian either. Look at this shit. I saw it in New York. I'm not sure if he was Korean. I think it was the Mexican ladies. He was roasting rats or some shit.
Yeah, I saw that.
Son, really? I mean, would you eat? The rata tastes like pernil. Who knows?
I don't know. We're close to Soylent Green. We're all going to be eating processed.
I think we're already there.
Yeah, man.
And they find some fact they was processing something that looked like human DNA in the machines.
Yeah, well, I feel like every week now I see some article pop up on my social media about like, hey, did you hear that like eating crickets is really good for you? I'm like, stop with this bullshit. Stop trying to fucking get us to eat your goddamn gruel because you're trying to hoard all the resources, people. Like, no, just eat crickets. You'll be fine.
You know what I mean? It's all right. All I can picture is that Godzilla's really coming out of the ocean up in about another month or two. So
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't like Japanese people. Just mostly for that.
Yeah. All right, so let's start getting into this, brother. You start writing comics. And I know you have this wonderful project called Kickstarer that's out now. Now, is Kickstarer your first comic book project you're putting out there, or what? Talk to me on that.
It's the first one I've put out. It's definitely not the first one I've written. This is not a joke. I've probably written hundreds, and I mean hundreds, if not maybe into the thousands of comic book scripts in my life. Like. Damn. That because I mean, again, when I was younger, if you would have asked me my dream scenario, it would have been writing comic books. So I probably have a file of like, honestly, I would guess 200 and some scripts of X-Men comic books that I've written, like this 30 issue Batman story I wrote, like X Factor, Avengers, Daredevil, any character you can imagine that's like Marvel, especially. I've probably written at least 25 issues of that character. And then I've written hundreds of issues of my own characters that I've created in books I want to tell. But Kickstarer is something I wrote more recently. I wrote it kind of started writing around the start of the pandemic. And when I decided I wanted to do a comic, I was going to take another swing at doing a comic book, because I have in the past. It just didn't work, never worked out. I never took it because I never took it as seriously, because it was always like you find an artist and you're like, hey, we'll work on this thing, and if we make any money, we split it, which is never works out. It's a horrible. I'm sure someone's gonna at me and be like, well, we did it. Then fuck you. Shut up. One person. It's worked out. It's not a viable.
Not for everybody. It is a lucky strike when you're able to do that. God bless, for those that have done that, but sometimes people need their money.
Well, you got to give someone their bag. Otherwise they're not motivated, right? They're not going to come and actually work on this project or care about it like you do. So I finally had a little hole in my calendar where I had some time, and late last year, maybe early this year. And I said, well, I'm going to finally do this thing. So I solicited for an artist, got some page rates, found someone I liked, and I just said, okay, let's go. Like, you start doing the pages, I'll start paying you. And found a letter, found a colorist, put it all together. And I just said, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to fully fund it, invest into this thing and put it out myself.
Excellent. And folks, what are we talking about? Holy shit, it is time. It is time, folks. Let me introduce to you first the trailer. Then we're going to start getting into the Kickstarter and exactly what this book is going to be about and all the goodies and whatnot. Let's check it out, folks. Man, does that look intense? Holy smokes, bro.
That's the idea.
Bro, it's wonderful. First up, folks, before we get started, check this out, folks. We have 22 days to go. What that means is that we have 3 paydays to go. So don't give me no nonsense bullshit talk that I can't right now. Yes, you can. There's 3 possibilities here. So those are either get paid this week or the next. So, and then somebody else gets paid the following. So let's support this amazing project. To the 23 backers right there, a big old salute for supporting Indie Plus. My man has a $3,500 goal. He is currently over by $79 at $35.79. Yeah, congrats, baby.
Yeah, we fully funded in 5 days. So
5. How did that feel, bro? You came up with a project and 5 days later it's funded? What?
Yeah, well, my goal is I'd like to get to $5,000 and be able to really roll everything over into number 2 and get that moving immediately. Is the main plan. But this is just for getting. I mean, this money is gonna. Like I said, I already fully paid for number 1. So this just gets the main mass printing out, mass production out, and then also helps us roll into number 2 and get that ball rolling right away.
Oh, excellent. So explain to me the whole world of Kill Stan.
So Kill Stan, as you can see there, it's kind of the premise is suicide by vigilanteism. Stan is just basically a loser with nothing to live for. And, he decides to go out one night and take a swing at little vigilanteism in his neighborhood. He figures he'll get taken out in the first night. He ends up living a little longer than he thought he would and get caught up with some local crime lords, and things go awry for old Stan.
Wait, so what do you mean suicide? So basically he just wants to be a vigilante to try and get killed because he's too afraid to do it himself?
Exactly. Stan wants to die. He's suicidal. He hates his life. He's a loser and he's got nothing to live for. So he's just like, well, I'll just go out in my neighborhood. He assumes he's going to get killed in the first night. And he ends up, lasting a little longer than he ever anticipated.
Where does this concept come from, bro? That's kind of sick, because I heard suicide by cop, but never suicide by vigilantism.
Yeah,
where this concept from?
That's actually where the concept kind of came from. So it was early in the pandemic, and I was watching all the BLM and interactions with the police and riots and all kinds of shit that was going on, and it reminded me of growing up in LA in the 80s and all the interactions with the police and the LA riots that I lived through and all that. And then
you were there when that happened?
Oh yeah, my neighborhood was on fire, man. It was crazy.
What?
Yeah.
You were right in the middle of the situation then?
Yeah, I lived in South Central LA when the riots happened. It was wild.
How old were you? That must have been scary as fuck, bro.
I'm 40. I'll be 42 in like 2 weeks. So
I was 93 and I'm 49. Bro.
I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, I was 18.
Anyway, I kept seeing in these interactions with cops that was happening at the beginning of COVID, and I heard the phrase suicide by cop, right? And it was just, I heard that a couple times, and it was like an interesting phrase, the way they say that. And then the phrase suicide by vigilantism just like popped into my head. And I'm like, that's an interesting concept. And I started kind of ruminating on it a little bit, kind of mulling that over, and it just kind of all started piling on. I'm like, there's this guy, and he wants to, he has nothing to live for. And he thinks I'll just go out and, go out with a bang, one night, boom, I'll be dead. And he ends up lasting a little longer than he thought. And things go awry for old Stan, like I said. So
talk to me about building the team behind the book. Because I mean, the art is great looking, emotive. Again, I'm a fan of lettering and proper placements that I wasn't disturbed. Beautiful lettering, coloring, nice, dark, rich coloring. I love that, dark inks. Like, talk to me about that team, bro.
Yeah, so I got I basically there's a lot of Facebook groups you can look for, with creators connecting, and I just solicited for artists. So I solicited for a letter colorist, and I said, I'm like, this is a little bit about the project, kind of the broad strokes, neo-noir crime thriller. I want something gritty. Gave a couple samples of the art and coloring I like, and I said, email me your samples and your page rates, and I got a bunch from each category, disseminated through them, did some video calls with the creators, and narrowed it down. And my artist, Felipe Sobreira, he's a guy out of Brazil. The guy's phenomenally talented. It's a pleasure to work with him. The guy really is able to bring almost anything to life that he hasn't blinked an eye at anything I've thrown at him yet. And I've thrown some crazy shit at him. So he's really good at, I'm pretty detailed also, though. The script is very detailed on how the panel breakdown. I even send sketches, thumbnails. I want the panels broken down, placement of characters, things like that. And then he's just, obviously phenomenal in the way he brings it to life. And then the colorist and the letter is the same guy, Jimmy G. He's out of Norway. He's killer also. This coloring, I was very specific on the way I wanted this colored. I'm a big proponent of film, and I think that like color is used in film so much, right, to tell the story. And I feel like in comic books, a lot of people don't use the coloring to tell the story at all. And I think they're leaving money on the table, because it's a visual medium. So you have color. Why not use it to help tell the story you're telling? If it's a cartoony kids thing, it's brighter, it's more neon colors, so I really wanted to darken it down, this noir feel. I wanted to have these rich saturation, like the contrast of that like rich red. There's a couple panels that are we do some panels where there's like, even if you notice his shirt is red, we wanted to use we've kind of filtered over the black with a little bit of red hue. There's certain panels that we do. We put I wanted to have red over all the EKG machines and stuff, or not the EKG, but his heart monitor.
Yeah.
Because it just shows a little more pressure and extremity in the situation. So once Jimmy was able to hone in what I wanted on the colors, he's just nailing it. I mean, he did a beautiful job.
I mean, it looks great, this book. Again, definitely. I mean, look at this. How dope is this? Not for them, but shit, that gun, man. That's legit, bro. Well fucking done on that.
Yeah,
and the scene, very novela-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wanted to really drop you right into the action. And I've said this a couple times in interviews, but the word relentless kept coming through my head when I was writing this. I wanted it to move, and keep you just salivating as you turn pages.
Like fucking Crank, like you keep going.
Yeah. And that's a funny story. So this page you're looking at right there, that was originally the first page, and this whole book was done. And then I read it and I'm like, it needs a different first page. And I went back and created this page because it adds a little bit of weight to what's happening in the situation. And it also is it calls back later, but this is a good, it kind of draws you into his mental state a little bit more. And then it's like, boom, now we drop into the action. So there's a huge juxtaposition kind of gut punch in the first two pages. And then you have to catch up from there.
I mean, you're dealing with mental health issues, man. Like, how do you as a writer tackle such a heavy subject throughout this story? Because, I mean, we're talking about, again, what you said, suicide with vigilantism, and, that obviously is associated that the dude got some mental health issues. So, again, as a writer, how do you navigate that plane?
Well, I mean, I do comedy for a living. I'm probably fucking crazy.
You're mental yourself.
I'm not a stable person, Al. No, I just think... I mean, I've always liked the books I like, the stories I like, the movies I like. Don't always have a happy ending, because I don't think life always has a happy ending, and I like
it doesn't.
Yeah. So I like slice of life stuff. Not slice of life, but I mean, I guess in a sense, but a shitty slice of a shit sandwich, maybe.
I mean, you throw a little adobo on it, it'll be all right.
Yeah, but stories where you drop into someone's life and you get this piece of it in the middle. You don't know what's before, you don't know what's after, you don't need all the big origin. This is the story right here. And people have issues. That's part of why I'm so adamant that I think anyone who reads this will connect with it, because it's not really about vigilantism. It's not about a guy in a mask. It's about the mental health thing. It's about the psyche. It's about feeling helpless and hopeless. And I think I know we all feel that in some capacity. I think even more now than ever before, post-COVID. And there's just just be at the end of your rope and not really knowing what to do, and what lengths you go to and how that manifests in you. And you can feel like you're willing to do crazy things when life is that helpless and hopeless.
I agree, man. This book is one enough, folks. Let's get into that rundown right now. Again, we are funded, but we got to fund some more. So you guys can get started for $1, out of the kindness of your heart, because you're good people. But then when you got to start stepping in here and start getting into this digital copy starting at 10. So how many pages is this bad boy?
26 pages.
26 pages. And how many issues is the intention for this?
10.
10. Hey. So all 10, is the script done for all 10 issues?
Script's done for the first 6. The last 4 are written mostly. There's some tightening up and some adjustments I'll do. But I'm kind of leaving a little wiggle room. I leave myself a little breath at the end, because there's always in the middle, I get a little inspiration for a change at the end. So I'm not locking myself into those last ones until we're probably about 3 or 4 issues in.
Oh, so that means, well, while people are into those 4 issues, then they may not know what direction you're headed just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I will
Ooh.
say like the big stuff is locked in, but there's nuance and like little pieces that I may be like, oh, I think I need this character to do more of this, or maybe I don't feel like we've connected these people enough for people to care at this point in the story, you know. So I just want, like I said, they're basically written. I'm leaving a little wiggle room if I go back and want to, you know, adjust a few things.
Wonderful, man. I can't wait, man. Again, this book is again got 3 weeks, guys, to make this happen and help make it happen. So physical copy starting at $20. Free shipping in the USA, folks. In the USA. All right. So it says ship to anywhere in the world, so that'll be on a per country basis, I suppose, right?
Yeah, additional charge for other countries, but yeah, USA ships for free.
Look at that. There we go. And then physical copies, you get signed, free shipping, signed. All right. And then you got physical and a comedy special, include snap. So that you are, see, you said you want to separate it before. You see, man, you got to do everything, man. Throw the kitchen sink in here. That's dope. Folks, check this out. You got a physical copy signed along and a comedy special, digital video copy of this is 1 hour comedy special, not your cup of tea. Again, free shipping in the US, baby. That's right. Then we got a variant set signed plus a comedy special for 60. I mean, what variant we talking about? Who did you get for variants?
This is actually something we put together. It's a multimedia kind of art cover. It's a cool cover. It's very, very different. I want to do some really unique things with the covers. We're going to do more multimedia ones and kind of abstract stuff for the covers. So
you need to tease us with that, man. I didn't see that. You're murdering me right now. All right, and then we got the 3-pack limited variant set for 100 signed plus the comedy special. So this is the physical copy signed by you, the exclusive variant, right? There we go. Beautiful.
Great stuff. And then it's all, it's got the negative copy. So it's it's like reverse negative, the black and white. That's limited to just 25 of those bad boys. I think we've sold
only 25. You hear this, folks? This book is gonna be a hit. I don't think you want to miss out on something that has only 25. So the variant sets and signed plus a live comedy show. What do you mean?
I'll come to your house and I'll do a 1 hour comedy show for you and some of your friends.
Oh shit! Well, I was studio in Connecticut. That'll be fucking funny. Like, come on over to the studio or at the bar around the corner, and let's definitely bring something good to the fucking hood. But you see this? Come on, you got to bite on this, folks. Especially if you have a comic shop in a local bar or something, or speakeasy. Like there's a shop in Florida that has a speakeasy in the back. I mean, you guys should definitely do this. I mean, good idea there. Or Wonderland Comics in Putnam, Connecticut. You heard? You got the space for this. Yeah, I'm trying to pimp you, bro. Come on, let me do that at least, man. I'm digging the book. I'm digging the book. It's beautiful. Look at this.
Yeah, and we did hit full funding in 5 days, but really, guys, this is just about getting this book in your hands. I very much believe in this book. Like I said, I've written 1 million comics in my life. I've got a lot of other stories I'm going to do after this. This one I believed in the most, and I think will hit the most people and they can connect with it. And this is about getting it in your hands and having you read something and kind of get into the mind of a mind state we all feel these days. So I mean, you can still get on board, get a copy. They'll be coming out. We're going to get them out quick. They'll be out real fast once the Kickstarter's done. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Big shout out to DM Ray out there as well. Thank you for tuning in, homie. Appreciate you. I mean, this is the book you guys got to be looking at right here, though. Kickstarer. It's a fun ride, violent ride, but touching on every topic, but in a good way that you guys are gonna enjoy. I mean, you already heard him 10-issue plan over here. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be more. He won't get enough. He said he can't stop writing. I think he got like 1,000 issues of this, trying to be like an Action Comics level. He just saw
this book. Max will hit 12 issues. I do have other projects after this I'm going to do, but this particular story it was originally 12 issues. I took it down to 10. It may end up back at 12, but you'll see at least 10 of this for the whole story. Cause I don't want to leave wiggle room, like I said, but I also want it to move quickly. I want the pace to be relentless. I want you to be hooked. I don't want fluff. I don't want filler. I want it all to matter and all to grab.
You hear this, folks? Yo, so if you want something that's gonna be moving, he's gonna grab you by the throat, and just it's a thrill ride. It's right here. Killer Stand #1, a bloody neo-noir crime thriller. Again, you got 22 days to go. That's 3 weeks, folks. So no excuses. Now, please support independent comics. The project is live right now. I've been showing off the link. It's also in the show notes below. All right. So even when the show is over, just click away. We got enough time to make this dream come to life right here. This wonderful project. And of course, follow my big homie on social. He got an IG at infernal.earth. But then he also got his comedy one, which is Deece. That's DEECE.comedy. And then on Facebook, also at infernal.earth. Show that love. Now, I just a couple more questions before we go, my brother.
Yeah.
I mean, the publishing, Infernal, talk about that. What's that publishing? Is that yours? Is that someone signing? Talk to me. Infernal Comics.
That's mine. So that's the imprint I'm going to be printing everything under. I decided to go independent with this. Funny story. I actually had a publishing deal for this book, and I backed out of it. I declined. I stepped away.
You stepped away. Oh shit! Look at that, a creator taking control. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
There were a couple things they wanted me to change that I wasn't willing to budge on. And
yes, stand your ground, homie. Yeah.
It's the one time in my life I had integrity. But no, I mean, and there's no animosity, like,
not that there shouldn't be, but again, you you believe in your product that much, and when somebody's trying to tell you something's wrong with your baby, but you feel like, wait a minute, maybe you're not seeing it the way I am, but allow me to do it the way, hey, I get it. I respect that, yo. That's gangster.
Yeah, so I just needed to, and once we started talking about it and the ins and outs and how it would look and how it would come out, I'm like, I think I can do this myself and make this happen. It's going to require more upfront money from me, but that's okay. I can make it happen.
As a sacrifice, and all sacrifices like that are worthy, especially if it's for yourself. You know what I mean? Like the greatest investment are the ones you make in yourself or your family. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I mean, the artists they wanted me to work with, their house artist, which was not. So I mean, their house artist was Ron Friends, who's like a phenomenal artist, right? The guy's worked on Superman, Captain America.
Legendary shit, yeah.
Yeah. So, but also he's not this vibe, he's not this book. So I didn't want that look on this book. And they had a couple other house artists that were, names also, but they were all a softer feel and more kind of superhero-y. And I'm like, that's not what I want. I want dirty. I want grimy. I want this to look.
You want something like Daniel Warren Johnson. He's one of my favorites, and his shit is gritty, thick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The colors are fucking like just out there. Just fucking love this shit, bro.
Some more rendering, some more, real detail, and just darker all around. So that was a big one. And then they also wanted me to change the name, and I wasn't willing to budge on that. So.
Oh, damn, word, even that? Then it's not yours. This is your name. Well, you know what? I will take it, but you gotta change the name, you gotta change this, you gotta change that. Then how the fuck does it become yours? Like they're changing. It feels like, when they say computer code, you change X amount of lines, and there's no, then it's yours. Yeah, it's like they try to play that game over a project that is not even theirs.
Yeah. So I was just like, I kind of put it on the back burner for a couple months, and then I decided I'm just gonna do it myself, and then here we are. So we're getting
Good
it
on
out.
you, brother.
I've already got a few conventions booked that I'm doing.
Oh shit! Talk about that. That was gonna be my next question. Yeah, you're reading my mind, Deece.
Yeah.
So, what's popping? What is on the line? Like, so people could check you out. What's going on?
So I'm going to be at the on October 5th. I'll be at Casa, which is Comic Art San Antonio. I'm doing a convention here, 1-day convention in my hometown. That is the the 5th, October 5th. So if you're in San Antonio or around the area, I heard a rumor we may have books already, and you might be able to get an early copy of Kill Stan. That might be the first place you'll be able to get a copy of this book. I don't know if you have any listeners in San Antonio, but that heard some rumors that may be the first official place you can buy Kill Stan.
Yeah, you hear this, folks? If you're to my San Antonio gente, mi gente en Texas, let's go, baby.
And then I will also be at Fan Expo in Dallas. I think that's the October 19th, 20th, 21st, something like that. I'll be up there. And so we're basically, I just started booking my comedy tour around comic book conventions. So
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I just find things, like, okay, I'm going to these conventions, so I'll start booking my shows there. And then I'm there for a weekend. I do comic books during the day, go to the shows at night. And be a long weekend, but
when you do conventions, do any of those conventions maybe like book you to also do comedy? That ever happen? Because I know out here, Gary Summers, salute to Gary Summers, Northeast Comic Cons and Collectibles show that he does out here. He normally does, like, on stage, he gets comedians throughout the day to show up, and they have this section in the back, and you can actually watch live stand-up.
Okay.
It's really very cool. I think some conventions need to really do more fun shit like that. Involve some music, involve some comedians, not just panels. It's nice to watch people talk shit about projects, but sometimes maybe, you had a rough day. You want to sit down and have a fucking laugh. That way you continue having a good day. I
mean, I've pitched it to a couple of conventions I've attended, like LA Comic Con and some other ones.
They need to do that, dude. It works.
I'd be willing to, moving forward now that I'm going to be attending as a exhibitor in the comic conventions. I would, I'd be down to pitch it to them and see if they'd want to do it. I mean, I've pitched it to when it's the other conventions I've attended. I've pitched it to them as like, hey, I could do it for the convention, or I can do it as like a private event for your exhibitors one night afterwards, or however you want to do it. And no bites on that. But yeah, I do a crossover if a convention I'm exhibiting at wants to do something.
All right, but you heard it here, folks. All right, and again, easy peasy to connect. I'm gonna show you one more time before we go. Follow my man on social IG, infernal.earth, deece.comedy. All right, getting communication and in contact with him there. Also on Facebook at infernal.earth. And then, of course, the most important thing you guys got to do today is support the Kickstarter. The link is below. All right, so go to that Kickstarter project, Kill Stan. You heard that? Very simple. The link is also below in the show notes. So I gotta make it easy. You go ahead, click away, and support that. Make them button that finger of yours swell like George Jetson does. Smash that button and make sure that you support independent creators like the big homie here. And this is the last one before we go, big brother. What type of advice, based on your journey, would you give to creators, starting to step into the game nowadays, based on your journey?
Well, I mean, practical advice as far as creating the book, I would say be willing to pay a good artist, be willing to put in the time, effort to pay and front load that. That's the only way to do it. Creatively, I would say, man, just chase the story that's in your heart you want to tell. The one that's not the one you think that's going to be a hit. If you chase the one that's going to be a hit, you're doing it the wrong way. You're doing it backwards. You're trying to get. If you chase the story that you truly want to tell, it'll come out the best. And man, just put that time and effort in, make it happen. It's possible. It's one of those things. I mean, I used to do hip hop music. I did comedy. I do comic books. I've done writing, all sorts of stuff. And I will tell you, the only way that you can do any of these things now is for you to physically do it, cultivate your audience, and then hopefully someone will recognize that and maybe get you to the next level. But if you're expecting to just jump right into that level, you'll sit around forever. You gotta put that time and effort in and make it happen.
You heard that? Make it happen, folks. Get off your culos and get your feet moving and them hands and get to work, because that's the only way that your dreams will be realized. Nothing is given to you in life. It's very true. And just gotta get out there, put it out there, F the haters, and just get the work done, baby. So
that's right.
And so just like my homie did, support that Kickstarter. Again, all the links below, socials, everything. My Crusaders, you guys are amazing. Yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you that tune in every time I'm on. I know some of you are just there, just silently watching. I see the numbers. I see them. All right, so I know what's going on, how many are watching. So again, thank you. I really appreciate the support. It means a lot. Please check us out on social at Comic Crusaders, YouTube's Comic Crusaders World. And of course, visit the website. Check out what my team is doing, some press releases, what's popping, with the comics, and especially with New York Comic Con. I have a lot of the deets of what's popping off over there. Go make them plans, all right? It's comiccrusadersworld.com. Thank you, Deece. You rock, brother. You know what it is, all right? Everybody, me Crusaders, you're amazing. Hasta la próxima. Wepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.